Hey, so again, I've always enjoyed having the countdown of the non-paid edition of the Zoom meeting. This week we might be racing the clock, so I feel like this is a challenge. If I go too fast, slow me down. If you have questions, ask them in the moment. We will have question time at the end, but let's just if I'm being too fast and not clear enough, just ask the question. So let's run through. Here's just where we're at. Really, the main thing, you should have all your directors recruited and in position, and so really you should be equipping them. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. But really, you're in the phase of VBS where it's recruit, recruit, recruit. You're trying to get people from anywhere you can think to get people. And so, our director, Kelsey, has been reaching out to young adults pastor, real life pastor, um, trying to get them on board and then trying to get them to get their people involved and on board as well. If you want to follow along on the agenda meeting, the agenda, I sent that in Slack. So I'm guessing that's where you got this link. So you might pull that up and follow along. If there's something important, I'll share it. But if not, I'll just be keeping this, the Zoom call as a video call and then going through this over here. There's some things we talked about last week. The most important one was the ministry safe sprint. And so make sure that you check that information from last week if you haven't already. So again, we've got just a lot of new information to cover. And so real quickly, here's the crazy thing that hit me. You've got 5 weeks until VBS. 5 weeks for VBS if you're doing it the 12th through the 15th. Anytime after that, you can just add that as extra time. But again, 5 weeks, y'all, till June 12th, and it's going to be crazy. So, hey, Terry, welcome to the call. Glad you're here. So let's go through. We've added quite a few things this week that we didn't have last week. So first one is just an overview sheet. And so we're going to take a look at it real quick because I want you to see so everything for the main sessions is now ready to go. So we've got a document that explains evening flow. We've got MC scripts written. We've got all the message scripts done. We've got all the worship songs done. We're going to talk some more about that here in a second. Activities done. Packet done. Small group leader training, which is huge for us this year. Done. Kelsey led our first VBS Directors Meeting, and we have smart boards in our room because it's a middle school classroom. And guys, she drew this amazing diagram on the fly of like in previous years, VBS small groups have all been about contain. And so she drew this color team leader who was supposed to have a bandana, but it looked more like a ninja. It was amazing. And she wrote people, she just drew people all around the circle, just that it used to be that it was all about contain, that we were really just trying to keep people heading to the right direction, going to the right things, rather than really trying to impact kids. And that's the biggest thing that is a change this year is color teams and small groups are no longer about hoarding the masses and herding the horde. It is about dividing these kids into small enough groups that each adult or teen leader has a purpose of investing in these kids. We're going to talk more about that here in a second. So you can see the breakouts are done. The core plan is done and finalized. And this week at all staff, Creative will be demoing all the things that we're making. And so VBS directors, you need to make sure that you have somebody from your campus go by that place and film what they're doing. Or even better, feel free to come to all staff. You have my invite. If your campus pastor sees you there, you can just say, oh, well, Kevin invited me. It always works. But the decor plan is in there. A lot of the people stuff is up there as far as promotional material, the videos we sent out about customizing registration, the ministry safe spring. Here are the things that are missing that we still have yet to deliver. One is how to prepare for check-in. We are in a new check-in system with Planning Center, and so honestly, I don't know the best way yet to do that. I've got to do some investigating, and so that'll be a big conversation in 2 weeks. The other thing that we're working on is VBS Junior. I know Caitlin Vaught at the Conway campus is owning that and working on it, and so we'll put this link on as soon as we got it. So again, that overviews and link, it gives you everything we have, and we'll add links to everything as we add them. So let's talk activities packet. So everybody go to the directors. Actually, if you just want to, this is important enough, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because I want you guys to see it. Share screen, there we go. Boom. Okay, so now you guys can also see my screen because, again, I want to make sure that you see this. So here's the math, right? There's always math involved. And when it comes to activities, it used to be 10, but now I'm suggesting 7. So basically, you figure out how many kids you're going to have. Our guess for West Little Rock is 80 kids per night. Then you take that number and you divide it by 7. Doesn't go in evenly, but it's close to 12. But we divide that in half because half of our kids will go to food, half of our kids will go to fun. And so what that means is that we need 6 activities. Bare minimum, we need 6 activities out of these options that we've given you on this thing. So again, you can just kind of look through vortex cannons. Highly suggest you make those, and you can even use them with your MCs from the stage. They're just amazing. They're fun to have. Floating stick man, elephant toothpaste, bubble juice. Just know that elephant toothpaste will be used in the message on Tuesday. So if don't use this in activities until after Tuesday. Bubble juice with hula hoop, Diet Coke with Mentos. All these have links so you can click into them and take a look at them. Colorized, colorless liquid, ice cream making. Here's some activities that you could order. Moon shoes, and this is a fun thing where you take a sponge and you pass it down the row, and when it gets to the end, they ring it out, and it's a race, and you can come up with a fun science name. Parachute activities, water rockets, those are things you can just order. Here are some take-home activities that are basically crafts that we've moved into the fun section, into the activity section. You can click into them. Slime is one of them. CD hovercraft, which I'm very excited about, and then paper airplane. I'm going to tell y'all something. The Lord has led us on Wednesday. I highly suggest y'all do this. So y'all know, like the butcher paper, like the big rolls of paper. So my family, we're kid life pastors, and so we get leftovers of very odd things. And so one night, my boys pulled out this roll of paper that is, I would say it's 18 inches wide. So we pulled off sheets that made it about the same proportions as a regular sheet of paper, but it was much, much bigger. Then we folded that large sheet of paper, into a traditional paper airplane form, and it became a paper airplane that was as tall as from my knees to the top of my head. And y'all, it was so much fun. So I highly suggest that rather than just doing your normal 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, get some rolled paper and then cut pages of paper in the same proportions as a normal size of paper. But then they get to have giant paper airplanes. Because again, you want to do things at VBS that kids can't do at home. Well, kids can find paper and make paper airplanes at home, but they can't make giant paper airplanes. Y'all see what I'm saying? So keep on going down. There's one activity that we play on Renton, which is the speed cage from Country Club Entertainment. And then there's some games that we basically have made up. Human bowling, which is a sports scooter and some bowling pins, and they're the ball. Ping Pong Battleship. You can read it and try to explain it. Our plan is at our next meeting, when we do small group leader training, we're also going to film this game, because I think when you see it played, it's going to make more sense than reading about it. So you can look forward to that. Sport scooter races, which we're just going to call Velocity Lab because that's fun. Cage ball or whirl ball. Now, I don't know if y'all played this in PE, but I certainly did. And it's basically a ball that is 3 feet or 4 feet in diameter, and 2 teams will create a circle, half on this side and half on this side. You throw the ball in the middle, and with their feet, they're kicking the ball at each other, and they get a point, and they get the ball over the other team. It's a blast, y'all. It's a blast, y'all. Ultimate rock, paper, scissors. Watch the video. It's great. But anyway, there's the activities that we've got for you. So I'm going to pause there. Any questions about the activities packet? Again, you've got lots of options. Find out how many kids you think you're going to have at activities and divide it by 7, and that's your smallest number. I would not have fewer than 5. At least have 5 activities, no matter how many kids you have, just because you need the diversity. And a lot of these, you don't need someone to run them, because the small group leader will be aware of them, and they can run the games as they bring their small group to those locations. So quickly, any questions? Ask it, Allison. Go for it.
I don't know if this is the right thing, but the lab manual, is that like there's going to be a set activity to do within the lab manual? Can you kind of explain a little bit of that, or?
Yeah, well, so here's the deal. So Allison is referring to something that we're creating that's going to be pretty exciting. I need to put that on one of the documents so you can see the pages. But basically, we've created these lab manuals that basically like walk them through VBS. It's going to be real helpful for your small group leaders. And so each night there's a section for the small group to begin with. There's a section for the night's main session. And then there's going to be a section for the activity, one of those 3 that I showed you initially, where it's either slime, CD hovercraft, or paper airplanes. Now, here's the deal. If you don't even have those as part of your activities, it's still great. It's something that they're all 3 something that they can do at their house. So I definitely would suggest having each of those 3 activities available that night, but it's not necessary, because if you end up not doing it, you still just get to have great activities that you can do at home.
So it's worded in a way that's like...
Well, okay. It should be once we get it worded.
Okay. And that says, it doesn't... Does it say a particular day or night, or is it just like day 1?
Yes, each one is a particular night. You go slime, hovercraft, airplane. Slime, hovercraft, airplane is where it will fall in your book. But do it whenever. I mean, I don't care. That's just where it's going to fall as they're flipping through their pages. But you can do,
does that tie into the main point or anything?
Nope. It's
just fun.
So it's fun. It's fun. Like, as we did our first meeting today, and one of the things that we did is we've reframed our breakouts. 2 breakouts: food and fun. For us, it's food and fun. And so, yeah, the activities really, they're going to be tied into a science theme, but not in that we don't use those pieces to teach any part of the lesson.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else who's hanging out in the background have a question, or we're going to keep going and move on to small group leader training, because I want to go through this real quick. Okay. I'm going to slow down a little bit on this, simply because this is new. And this is kind of the thing that is separating out this year. So I'm not going to read this whole document. Please go through and look at it. It's a very thorough training, and so I love seeing y'all pop on. Thank you. The first part of it is going to be training them in the bright lines, going over the content of VBS, letting them once again go over the flow of what to expect. And so then one of the things, their first jobs is going to be to determine their small group name. Your VBS leadership should assign colors. right? So at West Little Rock, we have two colors. We have blue and we have yellow. Yellow is our younger kids. We're probably going to do first and second grade. And blue is our older kids. And it's going to be third, fourth, fifth, and sixth graders. Because that's kind of where our even split is. From there, so the color is assigned. They get to pick their animal. Now, in the lab manuals, there's going to be some animals that are just provided that kids would just be able to circle. But you can choose whatever you want to because there's going to be another slot where you can write it. So every small group will be a color and an animal. So at West Little Rock, you may get yellow tigers. You may get blue lions. You may get blue crabs. You may get yellow leopards. You may get yellow lizards, right? Like animal, color animal, that's the small group. Here's a couple things. I'm not going to run through everything, but I do want you to know the purpose. So before the beginning session, we were asked to include very detailed times. So you're actually going to start, your expectation is that the moment you open check-in, your small group leaders are ready to go. So 5:45, parents are going to start delivering kids to their small group leaders. When they get there, the first job of a small group leader is to connect. Get to know the kids, find out what their day has been like, find out what their summer plans are. Connect is the first goal. The second goal of that first initial session is always going to be review. Because we don't have anything to review night one, it's going to be, what are you excited about for VBS? What do you think is going to happen? Like, it's going to be looking forward. Connect, review, and then game. Every night, we're going to play a game, and you can see that they're listed out on this document. I'll go over them real quick. Heads and tails, real simple. Get a coin or an app on your phone, and they either go heads, and you can't see me, but I'm putting my hands on my booty, or tails. And then you flip the coin, and if it's heads and they have their hands up here, they get to stay and survive. If not, sit down. Or if it's tails and they have their hands on their booty, they get to stay on. And you go down until you have one kid left. And that's your champion for the small group showdown in your main session. Night 2, hula hoop, hot potato. Classic kid life game. If you don't know that one, I'm sorry. And then the day 3 is head, shoulders, knees, plate. And y'all, we just played it because we had some extra time in Kid Life today. And it was a blast. Basically, I say head, you put your head here. Shoulders, put your hands here. Knees, you picture them on my knees. And I just call random number, head, shoulders, head, knees, head, shoulders. And when I call plate, there's a plate in between two kids. And they reach out with their foot. This keeps them from smashing heads if they're reaching with their hand. And they try to pull the plate back to their side. And whoever pulls the plate wins. And so that will then be the small group showdown. The final thing that you're going to do in the first part of your small group is you're going to read a key verse for each night. If you've got time, we're going to have Bibles in those small group locations, or at least you need to. As a VBS director, I say we're going to know you're going to have Bibles. I think every campus has a box of Bibles you can use, so that the kids can actually look up the verse and read it. And if you don't have time for that, that verse is going to be in your lab manual, so they can just turn to that page and do it then. Then everybody goes into the main session. I'm not going to walk you through what's happening in the main session. We've kind of walked through that before. Then at the end of the main session, you're going to do breakouts, and in the fun breakout, the activities breakout, you need fewer volunteers for activities than you usually do, because your small group leaders, because it used to be that you would get into activities and kids would just be like, blah, 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 and they would just go do whatever they wanted to do. This is much more like summer camp, where everything you do is as a small group. And so when you move into the fun breakout, you decide as a group, oh, we're going to go do an experiment. Oh, we're going to go do the craft. Oh, we're going to go build paper airplanes. Oh, we're going to go challenge another team to one of these games. And so you move as a group, which means that small group leader can be an activities leader during that time. We kind of explain that there. At the end of the night, there are two goals: questions and testimony. Questions meaning one of the main reasons that we are trying to slow down, one of the main reasons we are trying to do this in the context of small groups is because confidence is the word that God has spoken over this VBS. We are trying to build confidence in the hearts of these kids. And one of the craziest and kind of unintuitive things about confidence is the more you ask questions and are able to find your answers. Like, you would think that to ask questions actually reveals a lack of confidence, but no, questions is a way to confidence. Because if we're giving these kids space and freedom to voice their questions, and as their leader, you can either, as a small group leader, answer that question, or have enough humility to go, you know what, that's a great question, and I don't know. But I'm going to do some research, I'm going to look into it for you, and I'll be ready to give you an answer tomorrow. And then you run to your kid like pastor, and you're like, help, I don't know how to answer this question. And if they don't know, they'll call me, and if I don't know, I'll Google it. I'm just kidding. I don't Google questions. That's a terrifying way to find answers. So questions is one section. The other way to do it, the other goal of that second section is not just questions, it's also testimony. You see, each night we're going to share a verse about the power of either their testimony or what it means to testify. We're going to have a definition and a verse. And then we're going to have a chance for them, because testimony simply means this: sharing what God has done in my life. My testimony is the story of what God has done in my life. To testify is to share my story of what God has done in my life. And so we want these kids each night, whether it's about what God did at VBS or it's speaking out what God has done in their past, each night, each day, we want them to testify. We want them to form a testimony. We want them to speak out what God has done either that night or that day, or what God has done in their life, because that is another place where we build confidence. Finally, what you're going to do is, in those small group times, is you're going to review memory verse, work on motions and things like that as parents come and pick up. In this training, if you can see it, we've got some big wins that we want to monitor and measure as a director. Like, at the end, I suggest you get all your people together and you share any big wins. Anytime a child shared their testimony, that's a big win. Anytime a leader goes above and beyond the call of duty, that's a big win. Anytime a leader connects significantly with a child or a parent, that's a big win. Anytime a child serves the kids or adults around them, that's a big win. Big win to be celebrated. And then you can see down below there's 5 P's, 5 B's, not P's, 5 B's that spell out hopes. And you kind of see that. It's kind of your last word to a small group leader. So again, small groups are crucial to what we feel like God wants to do through VBS this year. So any questions about small groups before we move on? Okay. All right, well, let's keep going. So again, activities packet, ready to go. You can pull that out, give that away. Small group leader training, perfect. We got that ready for you to do it. And you might take a look at, read over that so that you're prepared. And here's what I do is, if you're the Kid Life pastor, don't teach it. If you're the VBS director, don't teach it. Instead, have your color team leaders, and that's another thing we explained, is in the past, color team leaders have been like they're the spiritual authority of a team, and they're the ones who are trying to invest in all 120 kids, which doesn't work real effectively. This year, color team leaders are making sure that all the small group leaders in their care have what they need. So it's a different role altogether this year. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your color team leaders are involved in training your small group leaders, so that your small group leaders know that they can have confidence in coming to their color team leader if they run into an issue, if they need help dealing with a child, if they have a question they can't answer. Like, you need your color team leaders to look like experts in small groups, because hopefully the people that you pick, they are experts in that area. So last chance. Any questions on small groups, or we'll go back and talk some more about the main sessions. Okay, open up the MC scripts document, and again, we are not going to read all this at all. I just want you to kind of see the nights flow pretty similarly. There's a countdown video that will last about 3 minutes, and there are some interactive parts, like at the end. So what the countdown videos are, if you haven't heard yet, is they are a made-up YouTube show called G-Force Gravity. And so it's basically a couple of our friends up on a lift dropping things to see what happens when they hit the ground. So at the end, there's always going to be a segment that's called Will It Bounce? And so when Will It Bounce comes on, you have to get every kid involved, that they either put their hands up, that they think it will bounce, or they put their hands down, that they think it won't bounce and it will be totally destroyed. And so Will It Bounce? And get them involved in that. After that's done, our host will say something ridiculous and hilarious, and then the countdown will begin in 15 seconds. So we're counting down, right? From there, this is the suggested flow. It's yours to play with if you want to. This is how we're going to run it at Westwood. As soon as the countdown ends, we're going into fast worship. We'll talk about what those songs are in a second. After fast worship's over, your MC or MCs come up and they welcome everybody. Every night they share what the VBS theme and purpose is, and there's some verbiage you can use there to do it. After that, they're going to review the memory verse in different ways each night. You can read that to figure it out. They're going to go from there into the small group showdown, where again, each small group sends up their champions. You can see how that's going to flow there. As that is wrapping up, we're going to collect offering as people come in using different colored toxic waste bins. It's a good time. But that's going to be part of some of the decor that you can learn to make at all staff, or have someone take a video of how to make it. Well, there'll also be instructions that are sent out for you to do that. But we're going to talk about what the offering is for. I would highly suggest you know what the offering is for and you announce it every night. Again, West Little Rock, we're going to raise money for Wycliffe Bible translators, because again, we're trying to give them confidence. And so, man, we are confident in God's word, so much so that we want to invest money in seeing God's word available in every heart language on the planet. That's a worthy goal. So that's why we're going to invest in that. We're going to introduce the main point. There's some fun ways to go over that. Bible story, get them ready for it. Bumper video message. Make sure. Okay, I just realized. 10-minute warning, y'all. 10-minute warning. Okay, I gotta speed up. I just realized I'm gonna have to go back and make sure we add where the testimonies fit in, because each night we're gonna show a student testimony, or you're gonna prep a student to do a live testimony. But these MC scripts, again, there's word for word. If you need word for word, feel free to let your MCs flex if they need some flexibility, but that's available to you. Next thing is the worship songs. For this VBS, we've got 6 of them. 4 fast songs and 2 slow songs. Each of these 4 songs are songs that your worship team, NLC Worship, is going to equip them that if you wanted to do live worship, you can do live worship with these 4 songs. If you want to use other songs, I'm okay with it. These are the kind of the 4 suggested songs. One is Real Love by Hillsong Young and Free. One is I Thank God by Maverick City Music. Songs we've done in the past, songs we already have, lyric videos, motions done. We're adding 2 new ones. One is Praises by Elevation Rhythm, and it's a crazy high energy song that's going to be a blast. And the other is the exact opposite, which is kind of a folksy, fast song called Now I See by the McClures. We're working on motions on that, and we hope to have those done by next Friday, and get those all to you so you can start learning those. And then the slow songs are Give Me Jesus by Upper Room and Worthy of It All by somebody I'm not aware of. And so for all those songs, we're going to get you lyric videos. And for the fast songs, we're going to get you motion videos as well. We're working on that as we speak. So that's the plan. So what does the next 2 weeks look like? The big thing is it's time to get packets in the hands of your directors, right? You've recruited great people and invited them to lead. Now give them the information they need to lead. Give the small group training to your color team leaders. Give the activities packet to your activities folk. The worship songs link to your worship leader, because there's already 2 songs they can start learning and pass on to the team. Get them the information they need. As you come and experience any questions from them, either wait for our next call, or if it's urgent, reach out to me and we'll get some things figured out. The other thing you need to start doing is ordering materials for activities, crafts, and stage. All the things that we have out there, if there's typically have links that you can order things from Amazon. The other thing is that I haven't put on here, but I need to. I'll send it on Slack. Actually, Tamara sent it earlier on Slack. There is an order form for t-shirts, lab manuals, which I highly, highly suggest you get for every kid you think you're going to have, plus some extras because they're going to lose them. Oh, and that's the other thing is I would keep them with your small group leaders. So that's why we have backpacks, zip backpacks available for you so your leaders can have something to keep all those books in. And there's other fun stuff like there's a sticky hand, there's some slime in there, there's safety goggles that will have branded VBS, there's lab coats that are really expensive but could be fun to have a couple of them if we get to the minimum quantity, which we might not. But look through that and make those decisions because we need those. Get ready for this tomorrow by noon. I know it's not a lot of time, so you should already know your budget, and that gives you an idea of what you can spend. And so get those numbers in tomorrow by noon. I'll check at noon, and if you don't have numbers in, I'll text you, and you might say, hey, we're not ordering anything. Put zeros in there for me if you're not going to order anything. That'll save me some time. The other thing we're doing the next 2 weeks is recruit. You need to be thinking, dreaming, and scheming of every place you could possibly pull in another volunteer. Again, start with little life people, youth middle people, and real life people because they should all be ministry safe cleared, which saves you a little work. But then past that, think about, man, can I come give a plug when your YA meets? Can I talk to the worship team because they seem like fun people? Think broadly. Where can you pull people in? So y'all, we got 5 minutes. I've slid into home, and now any questions about all these things that we've covered?
So an update on Dairy Queen.
Yeah, Dairy Queen is a go. Bernie is working on getting in touch with them about the details. It's not going to be as centralized as it was last year. You will contact the Dairy Queen that you're going to work with and work out the details of pickup. And I'm just going to tell you this. If you're watching this video and you made it to this point, whatever the arrangement is that you make, keep it. One of the problems last year was we made some arrangements and then people showed up a day early to pick up their stuff. And Dairy Queen didn't have the stuff because they ordered it to come on the truck on the day that they arranged the pickup. So whatever arrangement you make with Dairy Queen, keep it. But yeah, it's happening. And just again, they're going to provide buns and burgers for one night for every single kid at VBS, and they're going to provide buns and dogs for another night.
Condiments, right?
And condiments, yes. Yeah, and no, they don't. They have some single packets that they provided last year. Yes. So.
Hey, Kevin, do you know if the Dairy Queen in the Pine Bluff Market? I mean, we're not Central Arkansas, so I don't know if the Patels are aware.
Well, so it's the Dairy Queens that we work with, Terry, are that it is all owned by one ownership group.
Okay.
And so what we would do is we would connect you, or you could go to them and say, hey, all the Dairy Queens in Central Arkansas are participating in this. Is something they're doing. Is that something you'd be interested in? And if they say no, let us know, and we'll get you in contact with the closest Dairy Queen that we have a relationship with.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I mean, I don't know if we're considered kind of that Central Arkansas.
Well,
we're just,
we will still allow. We'll make sure that we get you connected in a way that you can benefit from this for sure.
okay. Okay.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
Kevin, on the MC scripts that I'm looking at, it says Bible story, bumper video, message.
Yep.
Is the message in the video, or is that something that's going to be live that we're going to get from you?
All the teachings are live this year. That was some feedback that we had and received is, man, let's not teach on the video anymore. And so the bumper videos are literally, the max one should be 90 seconds. Like, they're fast, quick, and it's just a transition that allows you to set up the stage and get your speaker ready. So all of them are scripts that a speaker, so night one is one person. Night two is one speaker and two like lab assistants. Night three is a speaker and then a Roman soldier, a rock, and a disciple. And it's three things that prove the resurrection. And you can kind of read through that script. And so you need people to play those roles. Or you can just put pictures on because each of those has costumes. If those are costume prohibitive, you can just put some pictures up on the screen. But those are all, if you go hit that overview and links, each of those messages is already prepped and ready.
Okay.
90 seconds, y'all. Any other questions?
Nope. I'm going to try to be at All Staff Tuesday, so
Okay, cool.
I'll try to come up with a good list of questions.
Yeah. Please do, Terry. Please do.
Because this is all new to me. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, and again, I sent you that document, so you're at a point now where you have most everything that we're going to prep. It's all there and ready for you. So.
Yeah, so I just got to get numbers out of people so I can get these packets ordered.
That is always the challenge, isn't it?
So,
great job, guys. I love having a deadline. All right, hey, text me, call me on that VBS overview and links. All of you have my phone number, so text me if you have any questions. But thanks for hanging out. We are done. So
Thank you for doing this, Kevin.
yeah, have a good 2 weeks, y'all. Good luck. Bye, y'all.
okay, bye.